Good day to you all, ladies and Germans. This is Or coming to you with another Company of Heroes 1v1. This one between Jove and Helping Hans. Of course, these guys are two stars of the scene. Down here in the southwest, of course, this is the OKW forces of Jove. He is going with the OKW, as I already mentioned, bringing in Scavenge Doctrine, Special Operations Doctrine, and Luftwaffe Ground Forces Doctrine. So definitely some three very common, very versatile commanders right there. In the northeast on Crossroads, which for some reason always seems like should be oriented a little more like that, or maybe a little more like that, as opposed to the common, stereotype here. It's his opponent, Helping Hans, of course, playing the Soviets, I'm going to call them Koviets for a second. The red-trunked Soviet forces he is bringing along: Soviet Combined Arms Army, Guard Motor Coordination Tactics, and Terror Tactics. Now, if you guys haven't seen how good Terror Tactics can be, albeit I guess I'm a little bit more of a passive German player, you should check out the I think it's a Strum Panther Cat game I recorded a few days ago. Should be up on the channel right about now. Very, very uncommon selection usually. It's a very, very different decision. You don't often see it at all. Now, let's get back to this particular game, though, in the meantime. So, Jove has made a quick push to take the center part of the field. Helping Hans, for his own particular moment, has decided to go for a support weapon Compania. And indeed, you do see him. He's got that first Maxim moving into the middle part of the field. The Maxims on Crossroads are decent. They're not wonderful, but they're fairly decent. I mean, there's good open areas to be controlled. And with these blockers here and there, it tends to funnel the infantry into a very, very advantageous fighting position. Usually, more or less. But he's just swift capping the northwest part of the map, and the Germans are doing a decent job of doing it down to the southeast, albeit, I want to say a little slower. I don't know if he's trying to make a push. Yes, he is. So Jove is making a quick push to cut off Helping Hans from all of his resources, trying to hug this shot blocker right here. And I don't know if he's going to get it off in time. He's going to at least decap, and it means the Soviets won't get their fuel income at all. And that's a great, great decision right there. Very well done. And the German Kubelwagen is sliding around to the southwest to pick up the German fuel. And while it was a good call to have these Volksgrenadiers take this position, they're going to find themselves getting flanked in two different directions here, and these conscripts are going to do some good damage as they retreat. Indeed, you do see one guy unfortunately dropping right there. Now, all that really wasn't to do a ton of delaying, but just to put just enough damage onto the Soviets, or just to slow down their economy just a tiny, tiny bit, that Jove can justify going for the VP first as opposed to going for the quick fuel. You do see already that the Germans have a slight fuel advantage, albeit some of that is accounted for by the support weapon Compania. Nevertheless, Soviets do have themselves back into supply here, and that's going to be a pretty good position to be in, I would say. Volksgrenadiers hopping into this house, trying to put some flanking fire down on these conscripts, picking off one or two as they pull back. I'm wondering, are these machine guns staggered? No, the other one's off to the northwest. But it seems like the Germans are not going to be able to flank it either. That's a pretty hefty firing arc, especially if you don't even know it's there. Conscripts in the meantime are trading firepower. Oh no, combat engineers are trading firepower with the Sturmpiots. That's not a great place to be if you are a Soviet. Those Sturmpiots do a ton of work, but they have some support from these conscripts over here to the east, which necessitates a Kubelwagen sliding in and around. Adding in the fact too that it's now a Rock 3 flamethrower on top of the combat engineers, and the engineers are compelling a soft retreat from the Sturmpiots, and it'll be an even harder retreat if these Volksgrens don't watch their next step. Kubelwagen's taking a little bit of firepower, but it's more incidental more than anything else, and with the Sturmpiots here, we should be able to compel... Nope, never mind. There come in the combat engineers, and it's a flank after a flank. The Germans are looking to repay the favor, though, trying to get up to the northwest. You do see on the mini-map flanking one of those Maxims. And not really encouraging withdrawal. All he's trying to do is just shift it around, I suppose. And you see him back up and trying to get in position. And this is a very, very well done flank with extremely minimal micro. Well, not minimal, but very, very minimal amounts of firepower from the Germans. There's no grenades being done. There's no damage being taken. Just 2 squads of very, very excellently positioned infantry were able to force back that Maxim. Now, there is this combat engineer squad right on top of these Volksgrens. The Volksgrens are getting super close up and personal. Gotta take some extra damage from the flames because of that. And with the machine gun right there, they really should back off, and they do, but not before dropping 1 model, possibly even 2. I don't know, we'll see. There is a Maxim in this central building here. Yep, picks off a model on retreat. And the Germans are bringing in battle group headquarters. A good decision, I would say, under the circumstances. Always better to have the medics than to have nothing at all. And I didn't even realize until just now, but the Germans are enjoying a trip cap. And will enjoy a trip cap for just a little bit longer yet. Volksgrens in the north might want to consider backing up. They're not backing up just yet, and there they go. They're finally off like a shot. Excuse me for a frame drop there, guys. I don't know what just happened. Volksgrens encouraging an opposite number over here to retreat as well. So HelpingHans has decided to go for that Soviet combined arms army, so the guards are coming onto the field, and guys, watch out, because the guards in the winter balance don't come in with their support weapon add-ons. That's going to be a cost coming towards you, so just kind of keep an eye out for that. But 6:30 into this game, and Jove has yet to drop a single ticket. I imagine that'll change pretty darn soon, considering how much the middle of the field is locked down. This Kubelwagen's probably going to buy it if it doesn't move. Move before you die! Phew, and he backs away just in time here. And the Volksgrens compel, indeed, actually this machine gun to retreat, throwing an incendiary grenade and getting chased off in turn by the DP light machine guns of the guards. One of the guards are trying to find the Kubelwagen, won't be able to do so too easily. Kubelwagen hopping away in that kind of only slithery, slippery way that Kubelwagens know how. And yes, in about 15 seconds we will see some tickets dropping off of the Germans here, but you know what? Jove is in a really good position, all things considered. And these guards are going to find themselves outnumbered and outflanked. They're going to do some fair amount of damage here, and a very, very good predictive incendiary grenade does force the guards into the Volksgrens firepower. And indeed, you do see a couple of them getting dropped as they back away. A bit of a watch out for the Germans, though. There is going to be a TM-35 mine in the middle part of the field, and I think these poor Sturmpires were trying to get around and not be found out, scampering up to the north, but looks like this Maxim's going to find them under fire yet again any second now. But at least they have staved off the fuel income for the Soviets for the time being. HelpingHans, though, doing an excellent job of placing machine guns, and guys, these are definitely people you want to watch if you want to know how to play Company of Heroes 2 at a supremely high level. Jove decided to go for a scavenge doctrine here. MG-34 is going to set up the wrong direction, unfortunately, find itself outflanked by these commies. And the commies are going to just kind of chase him around the field a little bit, aren't they? 2-1 cap in favor of the Soviets, and it could have been a 2-0 at the very, very least, but it seems more important to HelpingHans that he takes away the fuel income, and I think that's a good call to make. Looking at the army comps right about now, if Jove can hold out long enough to get to the late game, Flak Panzer perhaps, with the current material on the map, will do pretty darn well. Now, Jove does decide to do some minesweeping. Unfortunately, he sends in a guy to do it, and that guy takes a pretty hefty hit. And we're going to see infiltration grenades going off, and HelpingHans doesn't see it. Oh, he barely sees it. Just too late. Takes a good amount of damage there, and that house has almost no health left in it. So I don't know if I'd really be... Okay, he just hops in and hops out with these Volksgrens. Okay, good idea there. Phew. I was going to say, Jove, don't be a fool. Don't go in there. Don't be a hero. Realizes the error of his ways and backs away rather quickly. Conscripts in the meantime charging forward, trying to put some fire down on top of these Volksgrens, but they're supported again by more STGs. And this Kubelwagen, which is, shockingly enough, still surviving. Oh, yay. Meantime, Guards rifles shifting up, trying to put fire on the Volksgrens in turn. And we just see this meat grinder of a fight in the middle part of the map. Also worth noting, though, that we're finally going to see some Jaeger light infantry coming onto the field. These guys are excellent at that long-range firepower. Ooh, and interestingly enough, too, we see PTRS on the field. We're going to see the Volkswagens moving for it. It might be a difficult prospect, but it would definitely pay dividends. No, it is not going to happen. And instead, we're just going to see the M234 and Sturmpajos outflanking the machine gun. And oh no, the Sturmpajos are not going to get there in time. It's unfortunate. That could have been a perfect pickup. But instead, it's conscripts to the PTRS and making them a little bit more well-rounded. And definitely a cause for concern for this Kubelwagen.
Ambush camouflage now available.
But okay. Instead, HelpingHans decides to go for a Tank of Battalion Command, but though I find it very hard to believe he's going to go for anything like a T-70 at this point. Infiltration grenades going off again, paying their weight in gold already with their pound of flesh and their pint of blood. These things are doing pretty darn well for themselves. But combat engineers are not flattered too much. They decide that, hey, you know, guys, we might be cold on the outside, but we're going to let you fire. And indeed, what we're going to see is Jove taking up, I think, to Tier 4. He's not going to get anything close to those Flak Panther for a fair bit of time yet. He's up by 75 tickets, and I was wrong. HelpingHans is, in fact, going for a T-70. I don't think that's the right choice. I think a Pack 40 and the way that the Jove could go with his troops right now, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Excuse me, not the Pack 40, for Kettenwerfer. 43, my bad. But, you know, I'm not him, so, hey, power to him, right? In the meantime, conscripts with that PTRS are able to decap, maybe even recap the center part of the field, and Jove is threatening to take away the northern fuel point, and indeed does so. So he's getting a good chunk of fuel compared to his opponent here. And he's got plenty of time to do his thing. Since HelpingHans are going to be dependent heavily on late game built tanks, I'm wondering if we're going to see... You know what, let's not even speculate right now because it could get messy. Okay, but we are going to see the Shred Panther headquarters thrown down right in this area, holding onto this fuel point as well as this VP. T-70 announced its presence onto the field, and with the guards, yikes, okay, yep, the Kettenwerfer kind of backs away slightly. But what's the game state so far? So 464 to 394. The Germans are losing tickets ever so slowly. But the Soviets are starting to overload the southeastern part of the map, or at least the eastern part of the map, trying to figure out if they're making a push really onto either one of these positions. And shockingly, that fuel point's not really being protected, but that VP certainly is. So an interesting idea coming out right there from Jove. I imagine Jove is just trying to make sure that any expansion to the east is handled rather swiftly and definitively. T-70 in the meantime haunts the other side of the map, the western side of the map, and the Soviets decide as one to move in this giant red wave. Can't speak today, guys, I'm sorry. To take these positions back. Now, here's that thing happening right here. So we have the Soviet guards exchanging fire with the Volksgrenadiers, and I kind of wonder... Oh, hazard removal kit goes on just in time to pick off this shoe mine by the T-70 there. Good job. I wanted to have the Shred Panther headquarters a little bit further forwards, here-ish perhaps, still covered more or less by this hill, and would still allow for coverage of this fuel point. And this fuel point is exceedingly important to the German war machine. Now, Kubelwagen and Sturmpajos moving up very, very fearlessly, and decide just as fearlessly to back off the other direction. A good decision right there. And the T-70 decides that it's time to pick on that Kubelwagen. More mines going down. Okay, so where there's a German mine, now there's a Soviet mine, and that's going to be a big, big problem if the Germans are not that careful. And oh dear God. Those poor Germans are going to run right into it. And 3. Oh, no. Keep pulling him in. Keep pulling him in. I guess what's trying to happen here is that HelpingHans doesn't want to seem too enthusiastic about this. Kaboom. There go 2 models right there. And Kupelwagen, unfortunately, did go down, a combination of the PTRSs and the T-70. I think the T-70 probably got the final hit from the way that's brewed up over there. And that is the case. So, Flak Panzer could come onto the field within the next, 45 seconds or so, and I think that'd be a good option. Even with the Zisgun and the PTRSs and even the T-70, I think the Ostwind can do more than enough to back away the Soviet army as it stands now. One thing to note in the meantime, folks, is that neither one of these players, just the top tier players here, are going for supremely huge armies. I mean, 1558 right now. There's another Zisgun coming out, but Zisguns are much more kind of place and forget kind of ideas here. Volksgrens are going to come under fire, literally. Grenades coming out, yep. Very, very predictive grenades, unfortunately, don't do a whole lot, and indeed, one model gets picked off even before he manages to throw his grenade. So that's unlucky right there. And no, it's going to be a Panther.
Additional resources are now available to you, Commander.
Ah, how wonderful. We're going to see a... I'm going to start like Count Dracula for a second. We're going to see maybe the 152 howitzer. It could be kind of fun. I don't know. Not perfect, mind you, but it could be kind of fun. Now, Jove is going to go for that Panther. And 1 second. And, I have to agree with what was said a little while ago in another video more recently, that P4 and the Panther are not 100% interchangeable, but at least in the context of this game, they perform very similarly. Jove seems not to think so. He seems to think that it's better for him to kind of bring in that heavier tank and try to smash the Soviet lines with it. Now, if he comes in over here, he get a nice little bit of a line on these Zisguns, and that can be pretty darn good by itself. But Jove is not going to be that obvious. Instead, he's going to slide around, and my guess is... Yep, okay, he's trying to pick on the Russian infantry in the center part of the map. But they managed to take that last position before they pushed back, and indeed I'm wondering why this Panther isn't really actually charging forwards right now to harry either of these squads, or the T-70 for that matter. The T-70 does have that whole prioritized vehicles, but nothing else that could even remotely stand up to the Panther tank. And in the south, these Volksgrens are going to slide in and around this Maxim, but it's not going to be death really anything. And indeed, there we go, finally going to see a round or two being thrown towards the T-70. Doesn't hit, unfortunately, for him. And as this gun indeed even puts a couple of rounds into the gun mantlet of the Panther. T-70 in the meantime tries to find a way to get out these Volksgrens, but the Volksgrens hide behind this house of hay. And as silly as it sounds, I've actually never seen the hay get destroyed on this map. It's a very, very small thing, and it's just only really aesthetic, but I don't generally see that. Either it gets blown out of the water completely, or it's sort of just hanging out. Up here in the north, the guards are holding strong, allowing the Soviets to really take a ticket lead for the first time in about 10-12 minutes. And indeed might even get more severe as one by one these German squads are getting pressured out of the map. However, this Raketenwerfer's got a perfect flank shot onto this T-70. And round should be completing. Oh my gosh, and he misses it. How do you miss it? It's such a huge weapon system. How do you miss that shot? Ugh. HelpingHans getting helped out by the RNG gods there. Of course, they may not be happening too much longer if these Jaeger Lights and their company Volksgrens get their way. Yes, I'm going to see a 105 howitzer barrage. Could be kind of fun. Unfortunately, it's just going to be zoning things out. It's actually going to do legit hardcore damage. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See that very, very big area, but unfortunately it doesn't do a whole lot, and indeed it just seems like a giant waste of 180 munitions. What a shame. What a shame indeed. But in the meantime, Jove says, you know what, bro, that's more than fine. I'm happy to have just the space cleared away. I have forced a bunch of your stuff off of the field, and now I can bring in a Flak Panzer, which by itself is a pretty fearsome beast. Now, Helping Hans is responding by bringing in his own mechanized armor compania, and that is a strong option right there as well. Not in the least because he can't really take on that Panther without assistance, but also because he wants to get those Katyushas in to take out the deep German positions, whether that's going for the headquarters or it's going for an infantry blob or some sort. Helping Hans needs a little bit more assistance before he can really consider himself to be in good shape here. Now, Flak Panzer should have a nice line of fire onto even this T-70 if he wants to. Instead, he's just throwing rounds into the conscripts, and why the heck not? Resist guns are there, though, to kind of push him and deflect him away, and that's luckily for the Ostwind. He notices him so quickly. And the Volksgrens, in the meantime, do pick up, or at least decap, the position to the northwest.
Rocket launcher on the field.
Ostwind slides away with just one kill and just barely scratches on the paint. Panther, for the meantime, though, this decided he could probably push forwards here. We're going to see a fair number of TM-35 mines, so one right there. Another one's already been there. Another one's going down here, so it's going to be very, very deadly to be a German anything, really, on this map. If Jove is uncareful. Now, to be fair, this is Jove we're talking about, so you can expect him to be pretty active about this and be very much have an awareness of where these mine placements would be. But these are just different enough. This one, sure. This one and this one, maybe even those, but this one right here is not a particularly standard mine. So it'll be very, very different to see how that works out. And a fifth mine going down, so Helping Hans is just throwing down all the munitions that he has in mines. It's probably a pretty good idea there as well. Assault grenades galore going out. This machine gun's gonna get shredded. That thing gets blown apart by an excellent set of grenades from this Volksgren squad. But the Maxim is still out and available, so I'm wondering, are we going to see something like, oof, never mind, we're going to see a Katyusha barrage in return. And the Volksgrens are going to charge right across one of those mines. But okay. 337 to 394, it's 22 minutes and 27 seconds into this match. And these Jaegers are trying very, very hard to push back the combat engineers, but again, it's just there's so much stuff in the middle part of the field. Meanwhile, we're going to see an ISG coming out for the Germans looking to support the push in the middle part of the field. And we're going to see in the northwest, it's still just the Ostwind and this lovely little squad of Volksgrens here, just trying to take away the fuel as much as possible, just harrying all over the place, doing really what a lot of players unfortunately forget to do. ISG coming over here to the eastern side now, trying to pick off this machine gun. Not going to do 100% damage because of the standby fighting position, but nevertheless, a good start, and that helped right there. One shot from the Panther, and the machine gun was like, wait, we recovered just a second ago, guys. What happened here? And is forced into a very, very ignoble retreat. And it seems like Jove is able to slowly take portions of this map back. I'm trying to think about where he's got anybody with a hazard removal kit. That is over here to the west. But he got it hidden away for the time being. ISG, though, trying to earn its pay hardcore. Got 3 kills already from that lucky strike. And more infiltration grenades coming out. Not going to do the damage he's hoping for, but nevertheless moving the Soviets from where they had been. Another barrage comes through, and it's just too late. So this Katyusha is largely worthless. It's been able to force units to shift a little bit, but not enough to really make a massive difference. Now this Su-85 in the north against an Ostwind, that will make a difference. The Ostwind can barely scratch the paint on the Su-85 by virtue of just it being a massive tank destroyer. But all things considered, I would still give the edge, I think, to the north, to the Soviets. And 24-39 into the game, we're going to see that there's a slight edge now for Helping Hans by about 45 tickets. The Su-85 is backing away slowly in the face of this threatening Panther. And neither player really wants to go and be too aggressive. Crossroads can find itself a very, very unforgiving map, especially considering the army compositions on both sides already. Now what could be good, we could see another probably howitzer barrage coming down from Jove. I mean, it's possible anyway. Not perfectly so, but it's definitely possible. T-70 is advancing his position, trying to find a way to get in and start beating on this MG-34, and that's unfortunate right there, especially considering the Raketenwerfer for the Germans is out of position, cannot cover that support team. But in return, are we seeing any kind of action to the north? No, we are not. There we go. Raketenwerfer finally gets a shot onto that T-70, and we could see... No, I thought we were going to see a death maybe coming out from that flamethrower squad. But no, instead we're going to see the Ostwind beating on this machine gun as much as possible. And unfortunately for the Germans, he's not able to convert that into a dead squad. And indeed, it's just the Russians backing away, taking some severe losses, but not gaining a lot of long-term utility. HelpingHans going to go for that T-34. I'll do a decent job, I suppose, but it's not going to be an ideal decision against something like that Panther. He's forcing to swing around to the right-hand side, so the 76 in it should be enough to kind of, not abuse, but just encourage, delicately, for at least the Ostwind to back away.
Supply lines have been cut.
Katyusha firing again. Is he finally finding targets? No, he's not. Every single time he finds a barrage going out, Jove is immediately moving away. Brilliant plays right there. Now, want to see, we're going to see something like a Panzerfaust, and then if he comes a Faust, will we see then a howitzer barrage? I don't know. It seems a little bit wasteful, but it's definitely possible. No, and instead it's going to be the Panther moving in here. Then the Panther's looking to get that T-70 finally off the map. Hammers it hardcore, it goes down, yep, and there's the howitzer barrage coming in. So the Soviets, I think, are going to be a little shell-shocked here, and I'm not sure they can get out of this in time. The first couple of shells will determine everything. Never mind, they should be able to get out. Oof, but a couple rounds coming to the north and hitting the combat engineers. Now, unfortunately for the Germans, this Panther is going to be sorely abused by the Su-85. And now there's this gun as well, so the main gun's been destroyed. There goes the Panther. And will Jove immediately call another one in? Or will he try to just stall out maybe for a King Tiger? Best option right now, I couldn't really give it to you. What I do know is that neither player controls a plurality of points. Although in the north this T-34-76 is more than happy to beat on some infantry. Raketenwerfer lining up over here on the eastern side against this Su-85. It's super close, impersonal. No infantry is going to be able to see him. That's one round right there. That thing's going to be like, whoa, bro, I'm under attack. Get at least another round, but these poor Volkskrans are going to find themselves getting savaged by mines. How many mines are still left? Okay, so we still have the two up here. We still have another one down lower on the road. No, we don't. Those are both gone as well. And a predictive set of rockets is just flying all over the place, but not hitting that retreating Raketen. Late Jove now is going to go for that stall out to pick up the KT. He's going to sit very, very tight and play close. His Flak Panzer deciding to kind of back away ever so delicately in the face of overwhelming firepower. I didn't really notice it until just now, but HelpingHans has taken a commanding lead with the death of that Panther in terms of army supply. But can we see a tiny bit of that being chipped away? No, probably not. Indeed, these Volkskrans at best can probably throw a Panzerfaust down into the T-34 for the time being. Now, to the southern part of the map here, we're going to see booby traps that things have been placed out into the field. And it can be kind of fun. Yep, boof. There goes a big, big hit on top of those guards. Grenade comes out the other direction, but the Jaeger lights skip away from that merrily, able to save two models from death and potential destruction. Last truck's been called in. We are going to get super, super close, I would say, already to that KT. And once that KT comes onto the map, Helping Hans needs more than what he's got. I can tell you that much right now. This and this are decent against it, and with the addition of those two, it could be pounding on it quite a bit, but they all have to be in exactly the same area. There was one thing I've discovered about a KT, is that it's slow, but it's still way more maneuverable than your average bit of infantry. Now the T-34-76 comes in to throw a couple of rounds down at the Ostwind, which of course does a fair bit of damage, but the Germans, despite giving some ground here and there, are not out of this just yet. Though rockets coming in right now could find, yep, there goes finally the Rakettenwerfer. It's been taken out. The gun trail hanging up in the air. He doesn't know what to do with himself. It's unlucky, unlucky, unlucky. So Helping Hans now in the driver's seat, just barely, I would say, with this particular map. Now, what can Jove do to get back in this? That's always the constant question, isn't it? So, thinking of this, maybe not so much logically, but just kind of in general. KT would probably be a good choice. By the same token, though, if he calls in something like two Panthers. I'm not sure he's got the army supply for it, though, does he? No, it just barely doesn't. 10 off from them. I guess the KT might be the best way to go here. However, he's got to watch out. This Shred Panzer headquarters is going to go down pretty darn soon, especially with this IL-2 bombing run coming in. Yep, and that's 200 kilograms of explosives going down. And Jove is now in a bit of trouble. Not because he desperately needs the Tier 4 structure, because, I mean, once you have it, you can call on that KT no matter what. But because now, if that KT goes down, only his real options are to wait for more fuel, or just call on things like the Ostwinds. And the Ostwinds are not going to trade well against the T-34s, or the Su-85s for that matter. The Su-85s by themselves will just shred everything. A very, very aggressive push by this Ostwind decides to end prematurely. And we're going to see if the first time in a while Jove doesn't control any VPs whatsoever. So 281 to 343. There's definitely a guilty spark going on here. And in the north, we're going to see a very, very opportunistic push by Helping Hans to take back the fuel, his expansion fuel, as well as the one on the other side of the map. Now, though, Jaegers are coming in and around. I think they're trying to threaten to take points here and there. And against the Su-85, I mean, it's not a huge deal if an infantry takes firepower from them, mostly because, well, it's all AP. There's no, like, HE rounds coming out, so it's a much more survivable set of firepower. Now, T-34-76, one finds itself running afoul of these two Rakettenwerfers, and a quick barrage from those two AT guns will find them destroyed. And another T-70 is maybe being called in. We're not entirely too sure about that one. Jove is definitely, I think, waiting on just a little more manpower. And there it is, the Königstiger, the creme de la creme, the Sultan of SWAT, the Colossus of Kraut. And with the death of that T-34-76, I'm surprised the T-70 is going to be allowed to finish. Very surprised, in fact. Not like so surprised I can't believe my ears, but pretty darn surprised. Now, T-34 doesn't find itself too cowed. Its dead brother is hanging around to the southeastern part of the map. And when this KT comes up, it's going to be curtains for him, Charlie. Just curtains everywhere. The thing is so beautiful. It really is. You know it's going to be a good KT as well. First round does go and get one model. Oh, second round takes out two, and his machine gun gets a fourth. So the KT doing a pretty good job already. And Rakettenwerfer sitting and defilade, throwing rounds down the Su-85, finally making some good gun placements here. And where are those rounds coming to? He's calling down rounds on his own position. Oh dear God. Oh no, 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 no. I'm so sorry, guys. No, that was the bombing run. I was like, why is he doing that? Jove, what are you doing, buddy? But no, instead he's trying to pull rounds down to push away this machine gun. We'll succeed on one of them, but not the other. And we'll find out this T-34-76 will find itself getting hit by a very, very well-timed Panzerfaust, I believe. But luckily for them, the King Tiger is just too damaged enough to really pursue. That damaged engine slows it to a literal crawl. Coming up on 36 minutes into this game, T-70, the second T-70 onto the field, is here. He is listening. And he's there for 1 second, and he's gone the next. That King Tiger is just angry. Just angry. Now, taking a quick look at veterans, we haven't done that all game. Soviets are fairly vetted up. That's what you'd expect from HelpingHans. He doesn't drop squads very often. If he does, it's because there's an excellent, excellent ambush coming out, and that's exactly what Jove's been doing. Jove, for his own part, some of his infantry is fairly well vetted. It's not supreme, just necessarily, but it's fairly well, fairly experienced and fairly well talented, let's say. I'm not entirely sure what the correct end of that sentence might be. One round from that KT puts that squad down to half health. I'm always impressed by whenever the KT fires its weapon, because you have no idea what's going to happen. It could be like 7 models dead in a 6-model squad, or it can be a whisper of damage. Now, in the north, we are going to find these Volksgrens are going to decap this victory point, and that's finally a good opportunity there. And these Volksgrens should stop and turn and just unleash upon these combat engineers. These combat engineers don't even see it coming. Just a quick reminder, guys, if you get caught out while you're trying to build something, you will take extra damage. And not like, oh, a little bit extra with your pizza. No, like pounds upon pounds of damage. Austin will find itself outflanked, not flanked, but find itself uncontested by the Zis gun after outflanking the Soviet infantry. And realize it's probably best for him to back away right now. But the Germans do finally stop the bleed. And yikes, what was that? KT fires through the hedge, takes out the Zis gun. Now, this Briquette is going right into the middle of the beaten path. And that will make all the difference. Back away, my friend, back away. No, he makes it out alive? But another Briquette for trying to exchange shots with this T-34-76, and now here comes more bombing runs here. Run! And just he's not there quick enough, so the bombing runs are going to fail. And that's a bunch of munitions down the drain. Ostman is still up. He's been able to back away, dip and dive and duck, and now this KT should be able to take one thing for sure. This T-34-76 is just begging to be slain, but no. Instead, the Su-85 feels the ire of the King Tiger. And I'm wondering if what could have happened here is maybe this T-34 just rammed everything but Jesus out of him. But no, it's going to be one dead T-34 for sure. That's it. He's gone. And I'm wondering, does he get the credit for that? Yes, he does, even though it's really the KT's kill. And the KT really could push forwards and pick off one or the other already. Unluckily for the Germans, the fact that right now he does not have the munitions to support another light arty barrage, the howitzer barrage, it could be insane. But no, both vehicles limp away, and this screen of infantry is enough to stave off certain death. Germans did drop a squad there. In fact, it's a very high regarded Volksgrenadier squad. Which is a bit of a disappointment, but at the same time it allows another Ostman to come onto the field. And these things, as you can tell, look at that. One barrage, and a damage to this gun goes down. This machine gun's going to get hammered like crazy, and if he wanted to, he could charge the Zis gun line with both these Ostmans and probably take them both out. He might lose one. He might lose one, but it would be an acceptable loss in my mind. Another Katyusha barrage goes down. This thing's not been doing a whole lot. 8 kills off of like, what, 5 or 6 barrages? Volksgrens in the meantime are pushing forwards, but into a Maxim, which is not a healthy place to be. But another Ziskan does buy it, and I'm wondering, just is he going to shoot the Ziskan and destroy it? Might be the best option under the circumstances right now. And Jove, after being down a trip cap for a fair bit of time here, he is now threatening a trip cap of his own. He's got his own fuel back. He has slowed down the Russian expansion quite a bit and definitely rocked them back on their heels even.
Our points have fallen to 300.
And now, yes, he's got a trip cap, folks. And the Northeast Volksgrens aren't just, they're not being contested by anything. Yes, these Soviets in the middle part of the field are finally taking back a portion of what's the term I'm looking for here?
Su-85 tank destroyer ready.
The VPs. But it's not going to be enough to actually destroy it. Destroy the German control, that is. This gun does get taken out by a Raketenwerfer shot, gets blown apart, and that's going to be better and better for the German armored battalions, let's call them. There is going to be just barely... Okay, it's going to be a Soviet point for the time being, but I imagine we'll see some grenades coming out pretty darn soon. No, we're not. No, instead it's going to be a incendiary and possible death onto this guardsman. No, instead the Ostwind is forced to retreat or get taken out. And you don't want that poor one to go down. He's a more vetted up group. And the Raketenwerfer is firing on the Su-85, triangulating his position, just doing good amounts of work. And again, a couple of models going down here or there, never mind, it finally gets decrewed. So one Raketen is down. That's a problem right there. But not a huge one. And now we have the King Tiger moving in. He could get around all of these vehicles. He could just dive in, really, and just destroy this Katyusha, and that's exactly what he seems to be doing. Yep, that goes down, and that's a big investment right there. It doesn't matter that he might even lose it. He just wanted to use Combat Blitz to kind of just push in, take that out that vehicle, and then back up really, really super quickly here. Now, I'm wondering, yep, it's going to be a ram! Oh my gosh, so it's a ram. So, yes, I was wondering if he should have done that before, but no, he did not. And instead, we're going to see a ton of firepower thrown into the King Tiger, but it's not going to be enough to kill him, I don't think. The vehicle's been buttoned, so closer and closer to death, but if he goes down, folks, he's not going to go down without a huge fight. And indeed, you keep seeing a lot of this German infantry is throwing itself like mad into the way, so there's no more hammering happening here. But the King Tiger goes down after slaying a ton of enemies, leaving the Germans with just a couple of Ostwinds. And right now, the Ostwind, I think, will do very, very little to an Su-85. They can just kind of say, oh, look, oh, you're trying to fire an anti-aircraft cannon at me? That's cute. And I believe we're going to see a dead Ostwind here. He's not even going to get anything out of it. So Jove going a slight tilt for a second. But nevertheless, a good exchange that saw a lot of the Soviet war machine slain. But during that time period, it has allowed HelpingHans to take back 2 points on the map. So yet again, folks, we go back to a 2-0 on the other side of the battlefield. And also interesting to note, these Volksgrens are going to scavenge their way through some things, get some fuel and munitions here. Scavenge doctrine is pretty darn good for that. So wonder if he's just going to kind of scamper his way back up to another King Tiger. It's just possible. Let's see, because there's another wreck down here. And what other wrecks can we talk about here? Okay, there's another wreck. Nope, that's not a wreck. That's not a wreck either. So shockingly enough, those wrecks aren't going to be scavengeable. But if he goes further to the south, he will find this other T-34-76. I'm kind of almost hoping he does. I don't know, I've just been thinking it'd be interesting. And a third T-70 comes out on the map. But the Sturmpires decide to throw down some shoe mines, and I don't know if HelpingHans knows that they're there. And indeed, it's going to be ISG and Sturmpires against a light tank and some guards, and the PTRS conscripts, folks. And again, these are just such weird engagements just because you don't expect to see this kind of fight going on. Usually by this point of the game, someone has just completely and totally bollocksed it up. That's why these guys are the best of the best out there. SU-85 finding the Ostwind in the flank. But there's a lot of light AT guns now, let's say, getting back into this business here. And another bombing run coming in. I think kind of really missing an opportunity every single time. There's a lot of munitions going down for not a lot of effect. And the SU-85 is just getting hammered hardcore by one Rakettenwerfer. I'm not sure one more round might be able to do it. Fire! Oh no, it just misses just barely short. So now Jove does have the fuel once again. The question is he going to call it in super quickly? I think he probably will. All his squads are back up to full strength. He's got the manpower. He's at the army supply. Excuse me, he's at the army supply rather. And we're going to see some howitzer barrage coming on in, and this Maxim is going to get out of there just barely in time, I think. No, just gets hit just a little bit. Not too terribly so. Doesn't take a whole lot of damage. And indeed, it just gives the Germans time to slide up over here and maybe potentially take back another portion of the map. Slice off the Soviets from all their resources, and you just see right now, plummets almost to nothing. Rakettenwerfer's looking to get up and around, hunting these Su-85s. It's super aggressive play out of these Rakettenwerfers. I'm very, very impressed with how proactive they've been. Katyusha barrage goes down to the center part of the field, I imagine, yet again. No, not quite. T-70 goes down, though. Main gun destroyed on the Su-85. Another round goes in, and yep, even if this Rakettenwerfer goes down, it's an excellent, excellent trade. But no, he's going to get away barely, retreating out of there with, you know, just the tip of his tail between his legs. So Jove loses, takes some big losses here and there, but then he comes back with these amazing plays. These proactive anti-tank gun rushes, things like that, and really get himself back into it. MG-34 fails utterly to keep the Soviets out of this area. Indeed, the Guards getting in and around. We'll see the Germans forced to withdraw. Of course, I say that at the same time, but we'll see that these conscripts and combat engineers will force back the rest of the German troops in the immediate area just through sheer force of will, it seems. And we're going into the 48th minute of this game. In fact, we've been through the 48th minute, going into the 49th minute for this game. And it's just been a massive, massive slugfest. Jove is trying hard not to lose models and slow down his second KT at all. But it's going to be very, very hard to do that. His ISG's taking some hits, and not the kind of squad you want to be taking hits on. He's starting to drop territory like crazy as well. It's all he can do to keep his guys healthy, wealthy, and wise. And Katyusha, that fired now. Okay, so it's fired, and it's gotten 5 kills already, so a little more effective than its first associate, let's call it. And this Volksgrenadier, yeah, I want to back up. There he goes. Second KT on the map, Königstiger Nummer 2. And I wonder really what serial weapon is. Oh wow, serial number is on the top of that tank. Katyusha barrage coming in though, and that really kind of stunned me for a second. I'm like, oh look at that, beautiful. Oh my gosh, it's explosions everywhere. Like the KT is now out on the map, and I don't think Hans knows that it's there. On the plus side, all this infantry is now going to get reinforced, which means that the Germans can safely start expanding yet again. And the Soviets, despite their initially strong position, is starting to look a little weak here. This Zisgun, one shot takes out so many of these models here. And there he goes. Would be a good idea to take out this gun? I think so. And if that KT shifts forward even just a whisker, he should be able to take it out. In the meantime, though, the South are going to find these machine guns are getting outflanked again by more and more Volksgrenadier effective flanks. And we're threatening an actual German control of the VPs once more, especially with the assistance of things like this Ostwind. 33 kills in this bad boy. Won't say it's the most I've ever seen, but at the same time I have seen Ostwinds that kill like an entire company's worth by himself. That mine that went down here aeons ago, well yeah, that King Tiger has now found its prey. This T-34-76 is like, oh brother, I am so totally screwed. Even Su-85 and the 76 together won't be enough to see the KT get destroyed, mark my words. In the meantime though, these guards find themselves sorely outgunned by a machine gun and a tank. Katyusha tries to give some long-range support, but I don't believe that's going to be enough. And no, it is not. That Katyusha gets no kills, no real benefit for that last thunderous salvo. And I could have sworn I saw something moving very, very quickly along the map, but I was in error. Instead we see the Königstiger moving forwards, and I think... Okay, well that's first things first. He's going to take out that mine. And I think... Is he trying to shoot at the Su-85? I don't know. There's another 34-76 off to the west. And despite this rush on this anti-tank gun, which might even take it out, it's going to be very, very costly for the Soviets to do, and it doesn't even manage to come off after all. Now, I'm thinking HelpingHans is trying desperately to lure this King Tiger into its death. T-34-76 coming in behind, and I'm wondering if we're going to see one of those weird kind of rushes yet again where one rams into the KT and everything else just starts to pour fire into it. I don't think that's going to be enough though. We do see the King Tiger has to be forced to pick one way or the other to shoot. The 76 is moving from both sides, the 85 is back in base, and that Ostwind Flak Panzer is just bravely dueling with the 76 for absolutely no other reason than just to duel with it, I believe, keeping things busy. So the brave Flak Panzer is going to buy it. Oh, but he takes out... Okay, so he sort of takes out his Tormentor in the last round. But that... Oh my gosh, the captured Zisgun. Captured Zisgun. Yikes. Well done. Throws around into the side of the 76. And that is all she wrote. Guards in the meantime are trying to stave off the German push. They're going to throw a grenade, into this rocket launcher. But not going to be enough. And the Germans now have themselves a trip cap. And yep, I dare say that I don't know if HelpingHans can come back from this one. He's building more tanks, so it's definitely possible. But 112 to 167, he's still the trip cap under his opponent's control here, and maybe I'm wrong. We have Rakettenwerfers sliding up, trying to position for an armored push, and that's exactly what's happening here. KT's going to take a round or two, but the Rakettenwerfer is right here, throwing rounds in return right back into the tank destroyer. And both vehicles forced to retreat with about the same damage here. Now, I'm trying to think now, from Jove's perspective, what can he do to stay competitive on the map? Now, I'm wondering if maybe it would be a good idea to do something like Rakettenwerfers everywhere. I don't know. The Katyusha right there makes that kind of a grim prospect. Should he wait and call in another Schwerpanzer headquarters? That seems to be a bad idea. No, I'm thinking right now what's going to happen is that he's going to keep this KT as healthy as possible for as long as possible. And he's kind of limp towards the end of the game. He is up 2-1 in capping right about now. Veterancy is starting to look a little slim on the German side. A lot of the higher vetted up squads getting savaged in just the consistent, never-ending warfare. The Volksgrenadiers are right here as well. Maybe we can throw a Panzerfaust into? No, they're not going to. Animation canceling out of that. T-34-76. Oof. Able to remove them. Now, to the west, we're going to see just these very, very brave dives happening out of the Soviet armored core here. I think it's not really the best ideas. And indeed, we're going to see scavenger grenades coming out? No. No, not at all, in fact. Oh well. But a Jaeger-led squad, after a very, very long period of time of not being on the map at all, is coming back into the fray. And these guards' rifles have 40 kills. What? None of them are vehicles, though, right? No vehicles, just infantry. Ostman, very bravely, sliding forwards. Not a good idea, though. He's in the middle of PTRSs galore and that Su-85. And as you can see, gets back with just under 50% health. So what had been a good position for Jove is now not negative outright. It's a little bit tenuous. He is down tickets yet again. He's down VPs yet again. It's really up to this guy right here to salvage the game for him. I don't know if it's going to happen necessarily. I mean, there's going to be a third T-34-76 onto the field. And short of the most amazing barrage ever of howitzer shots, 3 T-34s, an Su-85, and a captured Raketin, I think would be enough to take out a lot of this KT's health, if not all of it. Of course, we are negating, neglecting actually might be the better term, neglecting the fact that there still is a captured Ziscon on the opposite side of the field, as well as the target of this flak panzer who can just kind of run around and be annoying for a very, very long time. But as of right now, both players have largely the same size army. Actually, they would if Jove actually reinforced his army up to 100%. And I think we're just waiting for that final explosive combat. Coming up onto an hour now, and neither player wants to go and lose this game. And I mean, obviously no one wants to lose any game, but these are the games that are super hard to lose if you've just been through the ringer for a very, very long period of time. KT has to come up to protect the Ostwind, and the Ostwind still might buy it anyway. Rounds coming in though, one T-34 is almost for sure going to die. Almost for sure. No, he's going to make it away in time, and never mind, there he goes, that's one. KT should just continue to push forwards here. No, he's going to use combat blitz, increase his maneuver just a little bit. But it's not going to be enough, and indeed we see Volksgrams being forced to try to fight off these guards. And at 2 per, might be enough to hang tough, I don't know. Nope, never mind, time to back away. And both guys take devastating losses in the middle part of the field. Okay, but now both players are below 100 tickets. And we see a T-70 coming out for HelpingHans. I don't know if that's just supposed to be a target or what. And a Puma coming out for Jove. Uncommon decision there, but it could be an effective one nevertheless. Question continues to be though, can this King Tiger keep everything at bay? Because now, oh geez, okay, so this gun's getting flanked to death. If King Tiger though could get another shot or two to support said anti-tank gun. No, he's getting just torn in every direction here. He doesn't know which way to turn. Would be a good idea though in my mind to throw down an artillery barrage in the middle part of the field, at least stave off any immediate pressure there. And it's exactly what's going to happen. It's not going to be capped out. But neither will the Soviets fully get pushed away. Puma dances in, Puma dances out, trying to maybe trade his life for something very, very efficiently. At the moment, not going to be the case though. KT, in the meantime, sliding up to the north, trying his darndest to push back these T-34s. He's going to do a decent job of it already. One's going to go sure to go down, I think. That goes down. Yep, there goes the T-34. That's one. And now, if this T-34 over here goes down, that could be pretty much all she wrote. Ostwind buys it, and that's unfortunate right there. Puma sliding in and out the armored car, trying to do something. T-70 buys it in turn, and the Puma is rushing in The Puma by itself theoretically could take out the Su-85 if we can get in and around it, get out of that gun's firing arc, and this is like the duel to the death. Both guys miss somehow. Oof, main gun destroyed. That is the end of that duel, folks. That is definitely the end of that duel. And once more, just barely anything survives these combats. King Tiger is limping over here to the eastern side. If he can take out this T-34, he could safely dive for the Su-85, the Katyusha, heck, pretty much for everything. That's Combat Blitz coming out there, so one more round's gonna do it. You should be able to see him. He's not. How does he not see it? Oh my gosh, he doesn't even see him. But both sides pull away, gasping for breath here. Jove has 2/3 of the army of Helping Hans. But, yeah, guys, this fight has been brutal. Stupidly brutal. King Tiger limping back to the middle part of the field has Strompyos in attendance. And I'm wondering if these Volkskrans start to give their lives just to keep everything under control here. King Tiger takes some hits to its paint, but not too much else. Strompyos might be able to savage that Rakettenwerfer, capture Raketten. Doesn't manage to take it out, and indeed, the Russian infantry is a shadow of its former glory.
You are showing weakness.
Infiltration infiltration grenades forcing back the guards' infantry. And more T-34-76s, the repaired ones coming right back into it. And again, 98 to 72. We are so close, folks. We are so close to the end of this game. I can almost taste it. But neither player wants to give in. Neither player is willing to give in. Volkskrans dueling with conscripts over here, and it's going to be very, very difficult for the Volkskrans to hold tough, especially in the wake of having these T-34s in attendance as well. But he'll do it. He will surprisingly enough do it. And what is going to happen? I don't even know. 98 to 70. 98 to 70, folks. Machine gun gets hit by ISG round. Another T-34 comes onto the field, and it could theoretically be a 2-to-1 cap in favor of the Soviets. He's going into combat mode and capture mode. Oh no, yeah, he's going into capture mode. So he's sliding over here, trying to pick up the fuel points. And it seems that Jove knows what's going on here. He doesn't want to get caught out by this demo charge. So he's going to slide to the other side of the middle area, cap that out, and I think if he takes out any bit
Enemy forces are neutralizing a sector.
of these tanks, I'm almost sure of the fact that Helping Hans will tap out at that point. The KT doesn't even shoot at the T-34 for some reason. He throws rounds instead at the Rakettenwerfer. And he's threatening a trip cap again, though. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I thought he was threatening a trip cap, and I was going to say, guys, that's insane. But no, he might get a 2-to-1 out of this, which is just as good. And this poor Ostwind will go down in defense of the fatherland. So it's father and mother. We're going to have a giant fight. No one's really winning in this divorce. And that will be the main gun gone on like the 75th T-34 over here. Of course, he goes down. This Rakettenwerfer is next. It's not going to last very long. These PTRSs will just be like, oh look, rain is hitting the outside of this tank. So shockingly enough, the Rakettenwerfer does not buy it immediately.
Enemy forces are attempting to capture.
And there's like no German infantry left. Practically none. Where is that howitzer barrage coming down? It's coming from the north. I don't know if that's going to be enough. And indeed, my gosh, Jove is just trying to limp into the end of this game. But he's got nothing left. He's gasping for breath. I'm gasping for breath. Jove cries GG. Helping Hans says GG. And Jove waves the white flag. So at an hour, 4 minutes, and 21 seconds, despite the heroic defense by this KT, which had how many vehicle kills? 4, and he killed 1 friendly too. Jove just decides he can't do it anymore. guys, I hope you've enjoyed this titanic struggle between two of the greatest players on the strategy scene with Company of Heroes. I know I enjoyed casting it. As always, if you have a game you want me to check out, please email me at conovergaming@gmail.com. And I will cast it as soon as I can, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and Helping Hans, congratulations on that W. It's well deserved. Take it easy, everybody.